I've been in Ukraine now for 10 months, working with local drone manufacturers, integrating my vision-based navigation system into them. I often ask myself, how did I get here? I went to NYU Film School. I used to produce movies, and now I am engaged in cutting-edge drone conflict on a global scale. It should be a stinging indictment to the entire, military industrial complex that me, who knew zero people, knew zero things about the military, was able to deploy it in a war before anyone else. That should, in some sense, scare everyone. Ever since I was a kid, I was captivated by motion pictures, and I always wanted to be a Hollywood movie director. In 2013, I said, hey, do you think we could take one of these little drones and put like a camera on it and get really cool drone footage? I ultimately made the decision to buy a very big, expensive Swedish drone, and I flew into Kyiv with it to film Chernobyl for 2 days, because I thought it'd be really cool to film Chernobyl with a Hollywood-style digital cinema camera. And we got a lot of really cool, wild, innovative shots with it. And then from 2014 to about 2018, pretty much if there was an HBO or Netflix movie or TV show that had a drone shot between those years, it was like my company. So it was like, one of my big memories is, doing Fast and the Furious movies where we're like flying drones, cars falling out of rooftops of 20-story buildings and exploding. But it also kind of dawned on me that Hollywood doesn't have a lot of money. And I decided to embark on building drone software. I spent 2 years building some early version of computer vision drone software, and no one in Hollywood was calling, no one seemed interested in it. It seemed really hard to sell. I was sad and desperate, and I was in Buffalo, New York at some sort of investor CEO speed dating seminar. And I ended up sitting across the table from this guy, and I showed him what I was doing, and he said, the Department of Defense would be very interested in this capability. And my reaction was pretty much like you have to be joking. I grew up, watching futuristic sci-fi military war movies, For
your consideration.
Movies make it seem like the Department of Defense, the Pentagon, has all this really cool, super secret stuff. Don't they have crashed flying saucers? I kind of just thought that they have to have more stuff than asking me for help. I asked them what their biggest problem was, and they said GPS denied navigation. And it just so happened that the tool I was building for drone cinematographers, there was a feature of my product that kind of solved this GPS denied navigation problem by using cameras. Almost a year ago, I was in a field, drone took off, and air raid alarms went off. And because the Ukrainians spoof and jam their own GPS when there's an incoming missile, immediately the drone I was witnessing crashed into the ground. So that was kind of like a powerful, you could build the most sophisticated, autonomous, swarming, blah, 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 blah. But if those things rely on GPS and need to know where they are, and you don't have GPS, then all your fancy autonomy is not going to work right away. Early on, there was a bunch of very large Western defense companies that showed up with exquisite drone platforms and immediately didn't work because of the electronic warfare, the GPS jamming and the GPS spoofing. And then they went home. And I think at a certain point, the Ukrainians realized, okay, we need to figure this out ourselves. We need to figure it out real quick. So they started to kind of manufacture their own drone platforms to do things that they saw they needed to be done on the battlefield, because they're living and breathing this stuff every day. And yes, there's a learning process involved. It's a collaboration. It's trying to make this stuff work with drone manufacturers. And we are solving this GPS jamming and GPS spoofing problems that all the drones are encountering out here, and we're essentially solving it with computer vision. This is the terrain navigation module, so you can see it's a It's pretty lightweight. 2 long-wave infrared cameras here. There's an NVIDIA computer and a little hard drive with the map data. These lines are essentially the deep neural network matching the features in this to the features in the map database. Just think of it like facial recognition technology. So, when you buy your iPhone, you take a couple photos of your face, and then 5 years later, the deep neural network still sees enough features from your past photos to match your current, sunglass wearing face to that existing facial database. So people like it because you can't jam it, you can't spoof it, it doesn't emit or receive any signal, it works daytime, nighttime, etc. And we're attaching it to this plane to essentially do some tests. You just can't expect to take something built in a laboratory in Southern California and then just kind of like bring it to the front and then it's gonna work like magic right away. Maybe I'm a putz for actually trying to get this stuff to work. I've had people tell me you shouldn't even build product. The first thing you should do is you should hire a lobbyist. Working the Hill, getting Congress people to kind of give earmarks, in the tens or 20s or 30s of millions of dollars so they could just build stuff and never use it. The fact is, most of US industries not in Ukraine doing much of anything. They post a lot about Ukraine, they post a lot about drone warfare, but yet they're not in Ukraine, not doing anything. I'm naive, so I'm actually gonna try to kind of get this stuff to work. Other people know how to work the system better than I do, and working the system kind of insulates you from not having to produce results. If we really cared about getting all this stuff to work, it would be an incentive-based thing. It'd be okay, every time you hit a target, we'll give you $1 million. People would start to hit targets really, really quickly. So how does the movie end? We are in the very, very early stages of autonomous warfare, where we just kind of send armies of smart robots to fight our wars for us. Good fodder for a sci-fi film. There's a Gerard Butler movie, White House Down, where I think the opening sequence, I think it's Morgan Freeman is the president, and he's in a boat. Could someone build a technology that launches a swarm of drones and kind of devastates lower Manhattan? Yeah, for sure. Would we be helpless to kind of stop it today? I'm pretty sure we would be. That's the future that people are really scared of. Air raid alarm. Incoming missiles all the time, pretty much 24/7.